So I was recently asked how someone could support their loved one who was going through cancer. And right off the top, you know that I'm not a doctor and we don't treat or diagnose. We don't claim to cure anything in doTERRA or with our product line. But there are some basic laws of health. There are some basic things that we can do. One, to support ourselves, that is caring for the caregiver. And two, caring for those that we love. So whether you're the person going through the diagnosis or you're the one caring for them, it's very appropriate for both of us to learn this information. So I'm not going to talk a long time. I just want to give some overviews in response to the question that I was asked. So the most important thing you can do with any autoimmune condition or anything that's very serious or life-threatening is that you can support your body's immune system. Your immune system was designed to take care of you. It was designed to bring your body back into homeostasis. So we have to ask ourselves on a core level, what creates disharmony within the system? What is it that got us there in the first place? So those are sometimes very difficult questions to ask ourselves, but it's worth it. Now, it's no surprise to any of you that I'm talking about this because I personally went through a very serious case of Lyme disease. And while I didn't have cancer, I had a lot of the debilitating things that people with cancer go through. And it's a compromised immune system. And I think that there's some crossover with a lot of our compromising diseases. I learned about the emotional aspect. I learned about the financial aspect. I learned about the physical aspect of how it affected me and also the people that were around me. There was a lot of guilt that I carried from what I was putting my family through. There was a lot going on, and there was a lot of frustration because I didn't have solutions, and neither did the medical teams around me. I was working and trying my best, but I didn't have the answers that I needed. And sometimes the answers that I received were not the ones I wanted to hear. So there's a lot of emotions that pour through us as we have different types of diagnoses. I'm one who does not accept labels. I do not believe that anybody has the right to tell us how long we have to live or what that looks like. And I went through this with my mom. My mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer that spread and metastasized to her liver and her stomach. And I watched the whole process. I watched the emotions from myself as a daughter, and then also having my experiences as the one who was sick with my Lyme. And I also watched it as a practitioner as I helped her with her lifestyle and her diet and her mindset as we tried to pull together a program that worked for her. And so there's a lot of different emotions, different things you're going through in each of the roles that we play in disease. And so my best advice to you is work with the core things that are bothering you. When I think about cancer, I think about the cells in the body that have left the tribe. So when your body was forming, it has cells that come together in communities that can form organ systems or different types of systems in the body. So innately, your cells are stem cells, and they don't have a job until it's assigned one. So when you're forming in utero, your cells are becoming defined as to what their role will be in your body. There's a lot of work on stem cell therapy and things in the future that we are being able to use stem cells and maybe even cord cells from when you were born to be able to regenerate tissue and things in the body. But having said all that, think of these cells that are part of a community and they work together. They have everything that we need as all the laws of health for your full physical body: fresh air, sunshine, circulation, nutrition, elimination. Maybe not the fresh air for your cells inside your body, but they have these same roles within your organ systems and then on a cellular level also. So when a cancer cell has been invaded and the DNA is mutated, it leaves the tribe. So on an emotional level, think about where you've left the tribe, or what part of you feels abandoned, or what part of you has left that support system of the whole, okay? And then on a physical level, we also want to look at that. So I love essential oils. There's a lot of studies on how we can use essential oils for supporting emotions. Hands down, they are the fastest, most effective tool that I have ever seen in working with emotions. And that has to do with their availability and their ability to reach brain chemistry instantly through your olfactory senses. They're very effective topically because science has now shown us that you have olfactory receptor sites right on your skin. All of the cells of your skin and the surface of your organs have olfactory receptors. So what a fantastic way to be able to signal and create a response in the brain chemistry, just like smelling, than using a pure essential oil on your skin. And this is why I only use doTERRA, only aromatically, topically, or internally, because I know the effect that it will have in my body. When you think about the oils for your emotional level, you can get very specific. Now we have some resource books. One of the ones that I love is the Emotions and Essential Oils, and you can just get this on Amazon or any of your oil supply stores, and you can look up emotions in the back of it. You can look up how you feel in that moment, and then you can look up 3 or 4 different oils that can give you an idea. You can also look up a specific oil or blend that doTERRA carries, and it will talk to you about their properties. So for example, wintergreen is the oil of surrender. And if you feel like you need to control something, if you're feeling weak, willful, the need to be right, holding on, excessive self-reliance, this is a really good oil. You might want to put this in the diffuser or use it topically. And that's just one example of how we can manage the way that we feel, navigating the emotions that come up as we work. So this is powerful. Your emotions are going to affect and drive the way that your physical body feels. You cannot separate your physical body from your emotions. It doesn't work that way. That's why the gut-brain connection is so important. And that's the next thing I'm going to tell you about is foundational health. So the first and foremost is look into the emotions that you're experiencing and get out your diffuser or use them topically. Get with one of us that uses oils regularly and that we're really experts at helping you choose which oils would support you. And also get a resource book like the Essential Oils and Emotions, because you have resources to look up during the day different things that you might be feeling or predominant emotions. It's going to be different for you as a caregiver or you as the person who's healing their body, because this is always going to be the key to your vitality. It's going to be the key to healing. And remember, I don't believe in diagnosis. I really don't like labels. They can help us navigate how to work with our system, but I don't ever believe that there's a fixed thing that will stop your healing process. Like you have 3 months to live. I was given that or told that with my mom. She was given 3 months to live. And that's a scary thing. And that's a lot of powerful energy. So when we're talking about energy and mindset and the way that our systems are functioning, your mindset creates healing or it creates death. And that's the bottom line. I've worked with enough people with serious diagnosis who say, I and the people around me feel like I'm dying. So when you believe that, that's likely what your body's going to experience. But if you will get radical with yourself, if you will believe that all things are possible, if you will tap into your faith in your higher power and your connectiveness with yourself, you can heal anything. I have watched it. I have experienced miracles. And remember that miracles are just things that we can't describe. We don't know why they're happening, and we don't know why we got a solution, but something happens and it's possible. So if a miracle can happen for one person, it can happen for you and it can happen for your loved ones. So please take those labels that you've been given and mix up the letters and change it up and get radical with the way that you think. Go out and find something joyful. What drives you? Because remember when I was talking about the cells leaving their community? The emotions that surround that are important. So if you will believe that you have a purpose and you tap into why you came to the planet, and if you haven't fulfilled that, then you still have time to heal and to start living and having a joyful life. So find things to laugh about. There's a lot of research on laughing and humor and things that will help your body to heal. It's just science. those serotonin levels, those dopamine levels are stimulated, rather the dopamine, when you do things that are joyful. So that's the first thing. Mindset is key. The second thing that I would share with you when you're working with a serious diagnosis is your foundational health. Your body has to have energy to heal itself. So this is, talk about radical change. This is it. You don't get to have wiggle room. You don't get wiggle room when your body is very compromised. And maybe you can go back to some of the things you used to enjoy. But I'm going to tell you the big no-nos. The big no-nos are coffee, they're alcohol, they're sugar in any of its forms. Now you can have fruit sugar if it's like a berry, right? But you want to stay away from very sugary, dense foods like figs and raisins and bananas and things that have high levels of concentrated sugar, all right? And there's a reason for that. But you can have berries, all right? So sugars, gotta go. Processed foods. Many of you can't tolerate grains. Probably you could tolerate some sprouted grains, but I'm really like on an elimination diet of saying, let's remove anything that's going to be very, very difficult for your body to digest. Now, some of you may or may not agree with this because you know that I'm vegan and mostly raw food, but when I'm working with a compromised person, we eliminate meat. We eliminate meat in its forms that are difficult to digest. Now, if you'd like to add in some organic, homemade bone broths, then that can be okay. But things that are going to be easy for your body to break down. I do a lot of juices and smoothies with compromised people. So fresh, dense, phytochemical-rich foods that will feed your body because you need energy. A lot of times you're malnourished. A lot of times the bowels haven't been working properly. And so these are ways that you can absolutely give your body the energy it needs to heal itself. I believe that your body knows what to do. I don't care what the diagnosis is, your body was designed to heal itself. So all we need to do is give it enough energy. Make sure you're getting the colors of the rainbow, all of the phytochemicals, and all of the nutrients that your body needs on a daily basis. But it needs to be simple. I'm a big fan of mono eating, which means you're getting a variety of foods, but you're only eating one thing at a time. Maybe you have a bowl of cucumbers. Maybe you have one thing, so that's very easy for your body to break down. Or tap into some really good smoothie recipes where you're masticating the food so it's broken down and easier for your body to digest. So far, I haven't treated, I haven't diagnosed, I'm not trying to cure anything. I'm just giving you sound principles that you can help your loved one with. It is a sacrifice for some of you. There are some radical changes that need to happen. But can I tell you that this is your life? This is the life of your loved one. I moved in with my mom and I made sure that I stayed with her for 3 months because I wanted her to have the ability to get into a routine. I wanted her to feel supported emotionally, and I knew she didn't have the energy to be able to take care of herself in a lot of those moments. So you got to partner with your family members at this point. Everybody may need a break. Everybody may need some time off. Everybody needs to be nurtured. Right? So find a system that works for you when you have somebody with illness. Now, I have worked a lot with hospice and hospice nurses in that program. And that's really different because hospice comes in with a medical plan and they have a lot of medications and they do have some emotional support and help that they bring in, but it's very different from the caregivers who are going to nurture their loved ones. The other thing that you can think about is something called an aroma touch. We can use the oils on the spine, hands, and feet. This is an excellent addition to building the immune system and calming the nervous system. Your spine is housed with all the nerves for your whole body. So from the back of your neck all the way down to your tailbone, those feed into the different organ systems and they send fight, flight, or freeze responses, or they send calming. And so this is something that you can do is just apply the oils, and we can help you get very specific or custom on the oils that are appropriate. So an aroma touch is something that doTERRA uses. There's also something called a symphony for the cells, and that's similar to the aroma touch, only it breaks things down by, I don't want to say by diagnosis, but by body systems or what's really going on for you. So it hand selects each of the oils. That's another great tool for you. Diet, nutrition, laws of health, these things are all important. So if I were to recommend oils that would support somebody with and going through the cancer process, I'm going to start out slow. I'm going to first start out with Lifelong Vitality, a probiotic, and a digestive enzyme. I'm going to use Zendocrine Complex and make sure the bowels are moving properly. I don't want to really attack something. I want to get into harmony with it. And so this is a way for me to know that my body is nourished and my body is eliminating properly. Those are the first two steps. And then if I'm going to start using oils, hands down, if I could choose one oil, it's going to be frankincense. I would use multiple drops of frankincense in a day. You can put it in a gel cap. I'm not going to give you specifics on that. You'll have to work with me personally on that to do that. But I would be using it, I even personally on a preventative level, I use it every day. Just when I wake up in the morning, I put a drop of frankincense in my mouth. I use it throughout the day if I need, and I use a drop before bed because I've been in a state where my body was compromised, and that was part of my solution. And I want to maintain that homeostasis. Frankincense is one of the best oils we have for the nervous system. When the nervous system is calm, when the fight, flight, or freeze response is in harmony, then those cortisol levels can be regulated. And then we have a little bit more peace within the gut and the organ system. So I'm a big fan of frankincense. I love it. A drop on my thumb, on the roof of my mouth. You can massage it. You can even suck your thumb because there are some energetic points called penetrating points at the roof of your mouth. And it's also the governing vessel in energy medicine, so that it helps to connect all of the governing vessel comes from the tailbone all the way up the spine over the head, and it goes to the back of the throat. The central vessel starts at the perineum straight up on the front and meets the governing at the back of the throat. So it's important to keep those two things connected. You can actually put a finger in your belly button, a finger on your third eye here, and those will connect the governing and the central vessels. So this is important for the flow, and it affects all of the meridians, which then speak to all of your organ systems. So that's one of those basic things. And by putting frankincense on your thumb, on the roof of your mouth, you're connecting a lot of energy centers that maybe you don't need to understand, but it just feels calming. Instantly, you'll have a response. For me, when my body went into convulsions, it was this that calmed my system. And so that's one little thing that I would give you as a backup, as something you can do for prevention, but also using it on a daily basis when there's an acute situation. Frankincense is great. DDR prime, there's a lot of science and research that was done in Utah by a university, and they've been studying that for, it's probably 3 or 4 years now that they've had some studies that came out on that. So I have all of the notes and a PowerPoint from a researcher from that university who talked about why and what they found and why they felt that the DDR prime blend was effective in a petri dish with breast cancer metastasized to the lungs and also stomach cancer, and the results that they were getting, and how excited they were to see how the oils would isolate a cancer cell but leave the healthy cells alone, and why they felt that mechanism was in place there. So some really exciting research on how oils are working with the body, both aromatically, topically, and internally. So those are the two that I would definitely have as a core. I would be doing a lot of lemon in my water. And I would also think about specifically the organ center, like if it's on your breast or your lungs or whatever, I would then look up the emotions for that, and I might use those oils topically and in my diffuser. There are some studies with sandalwood that are very promising and do a lot of the same things as frankincense. So it just really depends on the area of your body that your disease is. Now, I'm specifically referring to cancer today, but it could really be any dysfunction of any part of your body. All of the principles that I'm telling you, I would use for anybody with anything they're going through. So I hope that gives you just a landing place. I hope it gives you a place to start, a place to think about coming up with a protocol of foundational health, of emotional health, and then using some of the oils that are targeted in general, like frankincense, sandalwood, and DDR prime, and lemon, and then some that are very specific, right? Sometimes we might use fennel if it's relating to the stomach, or cardamom, or maybe if it's lungs, we might use cardamom or eucalyptus or some of the oils that are specific to that. But whatever you're going through, there is a journey, and honor this journey. Sometimes for me, being the caregiver, we want somebody to heal. We want it to be fixed. And I want to tell you that life gives us lots of opportunities to be present. Sometimes the body gets compromised because you're not paying attention. You're so involved in your intellect, your work, your busyness, that you're forgetting to pay attention and to listen to the subtle parts that are speaking to you. Your body will speak to you, but you have to learn to be in tune with that. And if you will do that, you will find that things begin to spontaneously heal on their own. I hope that makes sense to you. It's the fear, it's the illusions that we create of separateness in our bodies that create disease. So if we go to the core and we're willing to work with ourselves or with our practitioners on forgiveness, on letting go, on where we're storing the energy, that's going to go a long way. And just know that this is part of the journey. Learn to embrace the journey. Learn to be present with where you are and with your loved one without attachment. That's the master, right? It's mastering how to be present with life and come up with solutions, asking the right questions. That's another point, is I used to ask the wrong questions, like, what am I missing? Why can't they figure it out? How come I can't get a diagnosis? Or how come they can't find something that stops my seizures? Or why is this happening to me? And why is this affecting my family? And I was saying these things that was programming negativity and lack of responses. And when I began to say, why do I know the solutions? Why are the right people brought into my life who support me, who can help me solve this, right? Why am I so grateful for the position I'm in right now? Why do I have clarity and understanding? How is it that this changes my life? Because I want to tell you, while I would never want to experience what I did again, and while I don't wish it on anybody, and I wish I had a magic wand to make your pain go away or your discomfort, it is through the 3 years plus of that experience that I learned who I was. It is through that experience that I gained courage, that I found my purpose, that I gained compassion, that I could relate to and help other people. It's why I do what I do now, and I've helped thousands of people at this point because of what I went through. So had I not gone through that, I wouldn't be here today being able to share with you the things that can and will make a difference for you. But you have to navigate this. This is your journey, and you've got to take the time to connect in personally with yourself and your higher being, and you have to connect into the areas that you've forgotten about, being in tune, having a plan, having some daily rituals and routines that ground you and that help you to create those solutions, and then start asking the right questions. And this is just that alone, lifestyle and mindset is 98% of the battle. I'm not really concerned with the diagnosis. I'm not really concerned what's going on with that, because I know that when you get into alignment and harmony with the other things, the solutions come. And the lack of attachment is important, because sometimes healing is surrendering. It's always surrendering. The healing always happens with the surrender of fear, the surrender of attachment. And we have to be willing to trust, because sometimes, like with my mother, her path was to transition. She chose very clearly to transition, and she left with peace. She left with harmony. She left with excitement and joy to be with her family that was on the other side of the veil. And I didn't want to let her go. I kept her alive for many months, longer than she actually could or should have been in her mind, because she was ready to go. And so as the caregiver and as the person who's going through this, surrendering to the will of your life path and then being willing to start co-creating that in a positive way feels so much better. So I don't know what your journey is or where it will take you, but I honor it. And I hope that you will learn to honor your own journey as well, so that this can be something that changes your life and profoundly impacts the people around you. Because life is more than just what we see. life has depth, it has richness, it has dimensions that we can't even fathom or imagine, that only someday we will understand. And I know that this is true because I've experienced it, and I've experienced it many, many times with those who are dying. And death to me has not become this very, it's difficult, but it's not scary. And I believe, and I can feel, and I know what happens on the other side. And so I don't know what that is, but I am going to tell you that you can heal, and your body can heal when we give it what it needs in the right moment, and that we resolve and go through these things. So I hope that that gives you some things to think about. Please ask questions. I'm happy to do more of these little mini classes if that's helpful to you, or if you'd like to set an appointment with you, you're not working with anybody else and you really need some guidance. I do private sessions with people, and I would be happy to train you and train your teams of people how to navigate this on a more specific level. This is very general, but I just wanted you to have an overview of how you can use natural health to begin to have confidence in your healing journey.